Most financial advice tells you to build wealth slowly. They tell you to save 5% of your income, cut back on small comforts, and wait 40 years. But when you are trapped in an economic bottleneck, slow changes don't work. Your brain gets bored, inflation destroys your patience, and your motivation dies. To break the cycle, you don't need a minor adjustment. You need a structural shock. Welcome to day 3 of our wealth architecture sequence. Yesterday, we automated your banking tracks using the modified 50-30-20 rule. But if your income is hitting a structural floor, budgeting alone isn't fast enough. Today, we are launching an aggressive behavioral experiment, the 30-day emergency savings sprint. This is a deliberate, short-term tactical intervention designed to force extreme liquidity into your ecosystem in exactly 4 weeks. This sprint is engineered to bypass your natural spending psychological traps. It is a high-velocity challenge. If you are ready to stop watching from the sidelines and actually test your structural limits, look at the screen right now. Comment the words, "I'm in," below to lock your psychological commitment before we break down the first protocol. Let's look at the mechanics. Phase 1 of the sprint is called tactical isolation. For the next 30 days, we are turning off the modern convenience infrastructure. Every app that allows you to buy a product with a single click, every digital profile that has your credit card pre-saved, and every automated delivery platform must be systematically stripped of its friction-free capability. Companies spend billions of dollars researching how to remove friction from your purchasing decisions. When you can buy an item on your smartphone using facial recognition in less than 2 seconds, your logical brain never has time to intercept the transaction. To save money fast, you must manually reintroduce heavy friction into your behavior. Tonight, your first operational order is to delete your saved payment credentials from your browsers and retail applications. If you want to purchase something online during this challenge, you must force yourself to physically walk to your vault, retrieve your card, and manually type in all 16 digits. This simple 10-second delay kills up to 40% of impulsive microtransactions. Next, we implement the convenience fast. For 30 days, commercial food delivery services and ride-sharing applications are completely banned from your ecosystem. If you need food, you walk to the local grocery store and prepare it. If you need transport, you utilize public infrastructure or your own assets. We are isolating your baseline cost of survival. When people attempt this protocol, they often object. They argue that saving $5 here and $10 there won't change their lives. What they fail to realize is the compounding effect of behavioral leakage. When you eliminate all micro-conveniences simultaneously, the collective financial margin doesn't increase linearly, it explodes. To manage the psychological withdrawal of consumer spending, we install the 72-hour quarantine rule. If you see a non-essential item during the next 4 weeks that you feel you absolutely must own, you are not allowed to buy it. You must write the item down on a physical piece of paper and place it inside a drawer for exactly 3 days. 80% of the time, when the 72-hour window expires, the initial spikes of dopamine in your brain have completely dissipated. You look at the paper, realize you don't actually need the item, and calmly discard it. You have successfully intercepted a marketing trap using pure behavioral architecture. This brings us to phase 2, the siphon. True acceleration requires more than just stopping the outflows. It demands forcing immediate inflows. Look around your living space right now. The average household in the US and the UK contains over $3,000 worth of unused, stagnant physical assets sitting in closets, garages, and drawers. During this 30-day challenge, stagnant assets are classified as financial liabilities. That old gaming console you haven't turned on in 6 months, the premium clothing you wore once, the secondary monitor collecting dust. These are not possessions. They are trapped liquidity. Your job is to convert them into cash within the next 14 days. You do not list these items lazily. You spend 10 minutes cleaning them, you photograph them under natural light, and you deploy them across digital marketplaces like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or Vinted. You price them 10% below market value to ensure immediate liquidation. We are not looking for maximum profit margins. We are looking for maximum transaction velocity. The money generated from this asset purge does not pass through your primary checking account. The moment a transaction clears, that capital is siphoned directly into the high-yield savings account sub-account you created yesterday, the emergency buffer pot. It is instantly isolated from your daily reach. When you watch your empty physical space transform into a liquid cash buffer, your brain experiences a powerful psychological shift. You begin to realize that clutter is a form of financial prison. You start valuing the security of a liquid cash cushion far more than the temporary, superficial status of owning unused physical items. Phase 3 requires a surgical strike on your fixed overheads. Most people assume their fixed bills are set in stone. They pay their internet provider, their insurance companies, and their utility bills month after month without ever questioning the tariff. In 2026, loyalty to a corporate brand is simply a tax on your ignorance. During week 3 of the sprint, you will dedicate exactly 2 hours to a process called contract arbitration. You call your internet, mobile network, and insurance providers. You tell their retention departments a simple, calculated script. You have received a competing offer that is 25% cheaper, and you are prepared to cancel your service today unless they match it. Amateurs call standard customer service lines and accept the first refusal. Professionals know that frontline agents do not have the authorization to lower prices. You must calmly request to be transferred to the customer retention or disconnection department. This is where the actual decision makers sit, the individuals whose entire corporate metric is based on stopping you from leaving. Lowering your internet bill by $20 a month or your insurance by $30 might seem minor. But unlike cutting back on lifestyle items, these are structural victories. Once renegotiated, those savings occur automatically every single month without requiring any ongoing willpower. You have permanently altered your engine's fuel efficiency. By the end of week 3, your ecosystem is highly pressurized. Your outflows have plummeted due to isolation, your inflows have expanded due to liquidation, and your fixed overheads have been systematically crushed. Now, you are ready to face the final, most intense segment of the 30-day sprint, the structural cash deployment that fixes your baseline permanently. As you enter the final leg of this 30-day experiment, you will hit a psychological wall. The initial novelty of the challenge has worn off. The social pressure from friends asking you to dine out or spend money is mounting. This is exactly where 90% of people break. They experience willpower fatigue and collapse back into their old baseline. To push through this friction, we introduce an extreme behavioral mechanic for the final 7 days, the zero-out protocol. Your objective for this week is to engineer at least 4 days where absolutely zero money leaves your financial ecosystem. No gas station snacks, no digital microtransactions, no minor payments of any kind. A total economic blackout. The purpose of a zero-out day is not merely the cash saved, it is the radical rewiring of your routine. We are breaking the unconscious habit of using spending as a cure for boredom or stress. When you strip away the ability to use capital as a quick dopamine fix, you force your mind to find resourcefulness in what you already possess. To execute this, you perform a pantry inventory. The average household in the US and the UK has enough food resources hidden in back shelves and freezers to sustain nutrition for weeks. Yet, we routinely spend money on new groceries because we crave instant variety. This week, you cook creatively with exactly what is already inside your walls. People often fear that a savings sprint will destroy their social life. But this fear is based on a false premise, that meaningful human connection requires a financial transaction. True relationships are built on shared attention, not shared consumption. You switch from expensive commercial environments to low-cost, high-value alternative interactions. Look closely at your historical spending patterns. 60% of all financial leakage occurs between Friday evening and Sunday night. The weekend is treated as an unregulated zone where the rules of the workweek are abandoned. By applying the zero-out protocol over a weekend, you protect your allocation engine during its most vulnerable hours. On day 30, the sprint officially concludes. You open your primary banking application and calculate the final delta. You compare your actual spending during this controlled month with your average spending from the previous 90 days. For those who execute the protocols precisely, the results are staggering. You have not just saved a random amount of money, you have uncovered your true financial capacity. You have proven to your subconscious mind that your baseline cost of survival is significantly lower than you previously assumed. You have successfully separated your actual physical needs from your manufactured consumer desires. But beware, this is the danger zone. When an elite athlete finishes an intense training block, they face the risk of immediate regression. If you celebrate the end of your 30-day sprint by going on an impulsive shopping spree, you will completely erase the psychological progress and the liquidity you just built. The capital you accumulated during these 4 weeks must be treated as a sacred military shield. It is not disposable income. It must immediately be locked into your defensive structure. This newly created liquidity is the exact fuel needed to fund the next stage of our channel's financial blueprint. Remember the 3 buckets from yesterday's 50-30-20 rule? This sprint capital fills your 20% future bucket at hypervelocity. Instead of taking 12 months of slow, painful budgeting to build a basic emergency buffer, you have compressed that timeline into a single month of focused execution. For the first time in your adult life, you can look at your bank account and feel a strange, unfamiliar sensation: absolute calm. When you have a dedicated liquidity cushion sitting in a high-yield account, the standard anxieties of everyday life begin to dissolve. You are no longer living one bad week away from financial ruin. This financial cushion changes your psychology in the workplace. When you have zero savings, you are forced to tolerate toxic environments, unfair contracts, and predatory corporate behavior because you absolutely need the next paycheck to pay rent. You are effectively a hostage to your survival costs. But when your emergency buffer can sustain your life for 6 full months, your relationship with your employer shifts instantly. Wealth managers call this "fuck you money." It is the precise threshold where you gain the leverage to stand your ground, negotiate higher compensation, or calmly resign if a contract no longer serves your long-term vision. Now that your defensive wall is constructed and your survival liquidity is locked, we can look at the single greatest wealth destroyer in the modern Western world. A parasite that is actively draining your 50-30-20 engine every single second your eyes are closed: high-interest consumer debt. In the United States and the United Kingdom, credit card companies have engineered the ultimate wealth extraction machine. When you carry a balance at a 24% annual percentage rate, the mathematics are violently working against you. You are paying for past consumer desires using your future freedom as collateral. This is why trying to invest your savings into index funds or real estate while holding credit card debt is a mathematical absurdity. No standard market index can reliably return 24% a year. Therefore, paying off a high-interest credit card balance is the exact equivalent of securing a guaranteed, tax-free 24% return on your capital. You have used the 30-day sprint to create a pool of liquid capital. You have verified your minimum cost of living. Now, you are no longer playing defense. You are about to weaponize this cash flow to launch a calculated, high-intensity assault on your liabilities using an advanced debt eradication sequence. Most people fail to clear their debt because they scatter their payments randomly across multiple accounts. They send an extra $50 here and $20 there, achieving nothing but frustration. To break a structural trap, your allocation of capital must be concentrated like a laser beam on a single coordinate at a time. As we transition into the final implementation phase of our sequence, we will dismantle the exact mathematical choices between the debt snowball and the debt avalanche methods. We will show you precisely how to reroute your sprint savings to crush these weights, preparing your ecosystem for pure, unadulterated investment scaling. To weaponize the capital you reclaimed during the 30-day sprint, you face a critical strategic decision. Financial mathematics and human psychology are often at war. To wipe out your liabilities, you must choose between 2 distinct tactical pathways: the debt avalanche or the debt snowball. Understanding the difference dictates whether you succeed or quit. The debt avalanche is the strategy of pure mathematical efficiency. You list your debts from the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate, regardless of the balance size. You redirect every single dollar of your sprint surplus to attack the highest interest debt first, while paying only the bare minimum on the others. Mathematically, the avalanche is flawless. By destroying the most expensive interest rate first, you minimize the total amount of money that leaks out of your ecosystem during your repayment period. You save the maximum amount of cash on lifetime interest fees and compress your total debt timeline to its absolute minimum. But the avalanche has a hidden flaw: it ignores human psychology. If your highest interest debt happens to be a massive $40,000 student loan, you might pour your sprint savings into it for 12 consecutive months without seeing a single account actually close. With no visible victories, psychological fatigue sets in, and you risk abandoning the plan. This is why elite behavioral economists often recommend the alternative, the debt snowball. With this framework, you completely ignore interest rates. You list your debts from the smallest absolute balance to the largest balance. You focus your entire financial laser beam on crushing the smallest debt first, clearing it from your horizon as fast as humanly possible. The snowball works because it treats financial management as a behavioral game, not a math test. When you completely erase a small $500 credit card balance in the first 2 weeks of your sprint, your brain receives an immediate hit of psychological dopamine. You see real, undeniable proof that your system is working. Once that first account hits zero, you do not absorb that extra cash back into your lifestyle. You take its entire minimum monthly payment, combine it with your ongoing sprint savings, and roll it directly into the next smallest balance. Your financial firepower grows larger with every single account you destroy. The choice between Avalanche and Snowball depends on your internal psychological profile. If you are an analytical individual driven by pure data, deploy the Avalanche. If you are an emotional spender who needs constant visual reinforcement to stay motivated, deploy the Snowball. The best system is not the one that is mathematically perfect, it is the one you actually execute to completion. Imagine the day your final liability is crossed off your master list. The sudden, overwhelming realization that every single dollar, pound, or euro that enters your bank account from your career or your side hustles belongs entirely to you. You are no longer funding the corporate profits of banking institutions in New York or London. You have taken full sovereignty over your labor. Now, your economic ecosystem is fully pressurized and completely unburdened. Your fixed costs are optimized from the contract arbitration, your spending leaks are permanently sealed from the 30-day sprint, and your debt payments are entirely eliminated. Your 20% allocation block from the 50-30-20 rule is now a massive, unrestricted war chest. This is where the true game of wealth accumulation begins. You have successfully graduated from defensive damage control to aggressive asset acquisition. You are no longer saving money just to avoid a crisis. You are deploying capital to purchase real-world assets that generate automated returns while you sleep. The biggest mistake individuals make after a massive savings sprint is leaving their newly created wealth chest sitting stagnant in a low-interest checking account. They allow their hard-earned capital to remain exposed to institutional inflation. To secure your freedom, that money must be deployed into strategic wealth vehicles immediately. Tomorrow, we are moving directly into Phase 4 of our Wealth Architecture series. We are dismantling the exact frameworks required to deploy your first $1,000 into the global markets safely, even if you have zero investment experience. We will strip away the jargon and show you the exact asset classes used by the financial elite. Before you close this chapter tonight, ensure your foundations are anchored. If you haven't done so yet, write your commitment in the comments below. Let the community know you are executing this protocol. This digital trace serves as your psychological line in the sand. You are turning your intent into immediate, real-world action. The modern consumer world is designed to keep you comfortable, compliant, and broke. It wants you to stay addicted to the convenience of one-click purchases and subscription loops because that is how wealth is systematically transferred from your pocket to the institutional elite. Breaking free requires temporary discomfort for permanent sovereignty. By completing the 30-day sprint, optimizing your contractual fixed costs, and building your 6-month liquid buffer, you are erecting an impenetrable wall around your life. A job loss, a market correction, or an economic emergency is no longer a catastrophic event. It is merely a temporary logistical inconvenience. True wealth building is a mechanical process, not a magical event. It is a sequence of deliberate allocations, strict boundary controls, and aggressive interventions. You have successfully configured the defensive parameters of your engine. Your machine is now clean, responsive, and fully prepared to handle high-velocity scaling. In our next chapter, we are leaving the world of defensive budgeting completely behind. We will explore the mechanics of passive indexation, automated asset allocation, and tax-advantaged shields like the Roth IRA and the ISA. We will show you exactly how to convert your active monthly surplus into permanent passive revenue streams. Do not let the momentum of today's blueprint dissipate. Secure your notifications, subscribe to the channel, and prepare your mental bandwidth for tomorrow's structural transition. We are moving from the survival architecture of saving to the offensive expansion of market investing. The roadmap is laid out before you. Your defensive wall is locked. Your leaks are plugged. Your financial weapon is loaded. Rest your mind, steel your resolve, and I will see you tomorrow in Chapter 4, where we deploy your capital to capture your very first market assets and begin the real acceleration toward your absolute freedom.